It's Roger Roadside saying hello. Hello. Wowzers, we're right in the thick of it, aren't we? Right in the bloody thick of it. Where are we? We're bloody London. Jiminy crickets. Past the dead horse. Apples and pears. Right, where am I bloody going here? Hang on, I need to squish in here for a bit. Hang on, let me just have a look-see. Right, I'm here. I'm there. I'm every bloody where. It's Roger Roadside. Always really weird when there's no one watching and you just sort of go, well, what should I say? And who am I talking to? Or am I just basically talking to myself? Yes, I am. I'm basically just sat here in a car talking to me old lonesome. But, you know, that's that and this is it. Let's just, let's say what we see. Say what we see. This is sunny old London. For those who have not seen London before, this is what it looks like. You can see there's a McDonald's here in London. London is obviously much bigger than this. I mean, let's not kid ourselves. This is 0.3% of London, but this is just near King's Cross. Interesting fact about King's Cross station. I've caught a train from here. That's the interesting fact. I didn't say it was a good fact, but there we have it. All right, we're good to go. I always get stressed out driving in London because there's so many different things that can trip you up. I don't know if anyone's driven in London before, but you've got to have about 8 pairs of eyes. Look, this bus wants to come out. Come on, mate. Come on, get out there. On your way, son. There you go. Hazard lights on. Thank you very much. Guy on a bike just flying around like this is, I don't know, the middle of India or something. I don't know. Yeah, there's so many things that catch you out. Controlled zones and you know, one way things that, you know, unless you've seen the 3" by 3" sign that says don't come down here. Yeah, I always just get scared that there's going to be some penalty or some infringement notice that I'm always going to get a couple of weeks after driving down in London. Usually I'm driving around, you know, Hertfordshire, the East Coast, Aylesbury way most of the time, and I try to stay around there because it's just a lot easier of a drive. But with that being said, you know, there is a lot more business down here in London, so sometimes you just got to go where the dosh is. We've got a question. G'day, Jess Drury. G'day, Jess. Raining in Bristol and raining yes, look, it is. It's a very, very drizzly day here in London. We had a big downpour not too long ago, but look, I've got to count my chickens. What's the saying? Count your chickens lucky? Or just count your chickens? I don't know, something like that. You know, I've got to be thankful because I know that there's plenty of places around the UK that have had real problems with water and downfall and flooding and stuff like that. So, you know, whilst it is not the most positive vibe fanging about in grey skies and a bit of drizzle, you know, there's always a lot more people worse off than me. So, you know, can't complain too much. G'day, Aiden. I think that, you know, you got to bear in mind, the old text's not too big, but hello, Aiden. Hope you're well. Thanks for tuning in and enjoying this little journey with me as I slowly make my way back home. Just driving through the streets of London, seeing the interesting things that might befall us as we trundle on past. You know what? One of the other things is that's really hard when you're driving in London is just the 20-mile-an-hour zone. You know, the constant 20-mile-an-hour. It's really difficult. And when you've got, I mean, I remember my very first car was a Volkswagen Bug, you know, Beetle. I think it was like a 1970s little round tank thing. And, you know, with every mile, or, you know, obviously back at home in Oz, our speedos would go by kilometres, but with every kilometre or mile that you would increment your way up on speedo, you'd feel it, and you'd know the difference between going 20 kilometers or 20 miles an hour as opposed to going 25 or something like that. But sometimes with these newfangled cars, the difference between going 20 and 25 or even getting up to 30 is the slightest tap of the bloody foot, and you do it in the wrong spot and bang, you're a criminal. But yeah, that's just me whinging. For anyone that's new to the channel, you notice that a lot of the time I'm just whinging, really. There is positive things. There's very positive things. I had a really nice birthday. For all of those who didn't say happy birthday, I had a very nice birthday not too long ago, back on Monday, and I spent that with my lovely partner, and our little toddler was being looked after by the in-laws, so that was good. Bristol city centre not only has 20 miles an hour, it has greens. Oh, Jiminy Crickets. I've been to Bristol. I love Bristol. I down on the, do you call it docks there? Down on on the waterside, and loads of like interesting pubs and coffee shops, and there's just a good atmosphere in Bristol. I really like Bristol. I did a little bit of work at the theatre there, but I've got a lot of time for Bristol. I've got a lot of time. But yeah, positive things happen. But like many, I find that, if you've ever taken the time to have a look at any of the pre-made videos, a lot of it is me whinging. But it just seems that every time I flip on the flippin' radio, that there's something that just doesn't make sense. Whether it be the bloody government, whether it be bloody businesses, whether it be bloody taxes, whether it be, whatever. There's just a lot of things that don't make sense. But we muddle our way through, and hopefully at the end of the day we keep our noses clean and see what's happening. But yeah, 20 miles an hour is tough. It's tough. I kind of wonder, I would like to see the information of where 20 miles an hour has been introduced, exactly how fewer accidents / injuries / deaths / drivings into massive pot plants on the side of the road have happened less now that it's gone down to 20 miles an hour. Because it's all well and good to sort of bring that stuff in, but whether or not it's actually doing anything, or whether you just bring it in and you go, oh well, we've done it now, so does anyone actually monitor it? Is it doing any good? Is it helping? I guess that would be my thought. Is there any currywurst there? That is a very bloody good question. Look, in London and all across the UK, really, because let's face it, the country is really multicultural. There are still some towns and villages and stuff where you'd probably make the argument that there is quite a very large sort of traditional British community there, but for all intents and purposes, all around the country, you've got people from all types of backgrounds and all types of walks and nationalities. So invariably, in every village or town or anything like that, there is a lot of takeaway food. There is a lot of food businesses do tend to do quite well. So currywurst, sausages, and the like of that, and especially come Christmas season, when every Christmas market and whatnot has got those big stands with the big German sausages, and whack a little bit of onions on it, yes please. Whack a little bit of sauce on it, yes please. All right, that'll be £15. What, for a bloody hot dog? You're joking? Yeah, but it's a currywurst. All right, well, I assume that's what you're talking about there, Plasma. But yeah, is there currywurst there? Listen, not in my car, obviously. I don't have a currywurst just floating about. But yeah, we do have quite an array of different cuisines, and German sausage, I believe, and excuse my naivety, I would believe it to be like a German sausage type dish. Yeah, there's plenty of German restaurants and whatnot. I do like a good sausage. Hoi hoi. Um, but yeah, it's one of those things. Yeah. What do you get? Krakow sausage is good for. Yeah. Mate, I love plasma. Don't get me wrong. I am a big lover of food, of all types of food. There's not really too many things I don't like. Um, cauliflower is probably one of the only. Cauliflower is probably one of the only things that I don't like. But everything else I will shove down my throat, and or at least try. But yeah, look, I'm a big lover of food. I can demolish a plate of food rapidly. My dad and myself are quite big and fast eaters. I'm not. Look, don't get me wrong. I'm not the size of a house, but I'm the size of a small bungalow unit. I would say. So I'm of a healthy weight, but yeah, I like me food. I like me food. Many people cauliflower. Many people don't like it, and they haven't had it prepared right. Yeah, you're right. Look, I'll caveat that by saying, when you absolutely destroy cauliflower by boiling it for about 4 days, I'm being facetious, but when you over boil it, 100%, I think you take away all the taste, you take away all the flavour from it. There is a slight exception to the rule. I don't mind like a nice bit of pan fried cauliflower with a little bit of butter, with a little bit of garlic, chopped up garlic. Throw the butter over it while it's sort of like a little bit, like, and don't cook it too long, but just give it a bit of a char and a bit of flavouring along the sides. Don't get me wrong. I was probably being a bit facetious. I would have a few bits of cauliflower if it was presented like that. But you're right. Look, I remember my great grandmother who raised me. She used to just boil everything. So. And she'd whack everything in a pot and boil it, and then about an hour later come back to it and remember that she'd started cooking. So yeah, if you overboil things, it obviously gives you a bit of a bad introduction to it. But yeah, roasted ground beef, onions is a good, Stuart, look, I'm flip-flopping now, because I'm actually, there are a couple of instances where I don't mind cauliflower. The other thing I don't mind about cauliflower is making cauliflower rice. I don't know if you've ever made that. Basically, where you just chop up a floret of cauliflower into as fine and basically into. You just keep chopping that little mother up until it's effectively nothing. It just becomes little bits like a rice. That's hence why they call it cauliflower rice. But that is a good alternative. I like that as a alternative to rice, because it's simple. You just keep chopping away until it's bloody nearly non-existent, and yeah, it's a good alternative to rice and stuff. If you don't want to go rice, I always struggle. Well, I don't always struggle. It's very dramatic, Roger. I sometimes struggle with rice in cooking it, in the sense that sometimes, I'll put a little bit in, and there'll be a little bit in the middle that will be relatively overcooked, and then the rest of it will be stuck to the bloody saucepan. So yeah, in those sort of instances when you want no fuss and a little bit more of a stress-free cook, just absolutely dice up some cauliflower. Do you know hollandaise? Oh, hollandaise. Oh yeah, me and hollandaise sauce go way back. What would you have hollandaise on? You'd have that on a most of the time with a breakfast, like on, what's the bloody thing? You'd have hollandaise sauce on it. You'd have like smoked salmon on a muffin with some eggs and some hollandaise sauce drizzled over it. I couldn't tell you how to make it. I should actually. Isn't it something like mayonnaise and mustard or something? I think there's 3 components. I could be wrong, but yeah, hollandaise sauce, butter sauce and egg yolk. It's butter sauce and egg yolk. Well, there you go. That's another way to aid cauliflower taste well. Lots of hollandaise sauce. Yeah, look, again, I'm flip-flopping here, because I've just come out and I've said I hate cauliflower, but there's about 3 ways that I don't mind eating it. The other thing that you may be aware of is where you do cheesy cauliflower. It's where you basically roast the cauliflower off a little bit, and then just at the last 10 or so minutes, you smother it with lashings of grated cheese, and then whack it again in the oven for a bit, and then maybe top it off in under the grill for about 2 or 3 minutes, just to get a nice bit of browning on the cheese, and then bring her out the oven, maybe a little bit of chives or herbs on top, some cracked pepper. Geez, I'm getting hungry as we speak. But yeah, look, there's cauliflower cheese is quite nice. But you're right, it's sort of, there are various ways to either mask or assist with the taste of cauliflower. I guess when you're just thinking about it as its own and not as its own sort of component, I don't love the taste. But then again, you know, who loves the taste of broccoli? Who loves the taste of, you know, pumpkin just by itself? Like if you just boiled it for a bit, you know, it's probably, you know, you enhance everything, I guess, really, with a bit of seasoning and the ways in which you cook it. So I guess that all makes sense, and I'm just rabbiting on like I've just discovered the fact that if you pair herbs and spices and different cooking techniques, that suddenly aids the taste like that, like I'm some sort of pioneer. Well, who's ever thought of that? No one else. Yeah, no, you're correct. It does depend on how it's prepared, but listen, maybe we should do a cooking with Roger. You know, cooking with Roger, bloody hell. No, I do like cooking. I do like eating, and I do like experimenting as well with food, not just generally. So yeah, there we go. Broccoli is great, good against cancer. Yeah, okay, and holiday sauce, mate. Listen, I do like a good bit of holiday sauce, and I don't have it enough in my life, and I think you're right. I need to get that a little bit more in the back pocket, a little bit more hollandaise sauce. So I will commit to that. Roger will go out and get about 4 cases of different hollandaise sauce. Yeah, listen, as you can see, it's starting to get a bit congested, and this is where, you know, I love this about London and about driving about. You always get people that just make up the rules a little bit, and, you know, doesn't matter that you've got right away. You know, if they pull out enough and wave their hand, that means that you have to give way to them. That's apparently some sort of law that people make up. But yeah, this is me. Just did a little bit of work in town, and now making my way back home, and down and down, and I don't know why. Does everyone know that song? And I miss you, and I did. Driving home from work, yeah. Well, basically this is my work. So I'm an on the road rep. So my car is, or my vehicle is my office. I do have an office for the company that I work with, so I do sometimes go into there just to do some bits and pieces, but more often than not I've got clients around, you know, sort of a certain patch of the country, like within, you know, maybe a 2-hour drive of London. And yeah, from time to time, well, most of the time, I have to go out, help them out with things, present things, new items that have come to market, and then also, you know, try to look for new business every now and again. But you know, I talk basically about food myself, so you know, it's not the worst thing to speak about, which is good. And every now and again, I get to try things. So the last couple of days, I was at an expo. I was at a conference in Birmingham for ice cream. So I spent 2 days there sampling loads of different ice cream, different toppings, different sprinkles, different waffles, crepes, It was bloody lovely. But I think I've put on about 2 stone just from the last 2 days as I eat some leftover sprinkles. So yeah, I'm very fortunate in the sense that what I talk about and what I do, I have an interest in. Because I don't know about anyone else, but when you do a job and you don't really have a passion for, I mean, there was a time where I used to work for an insurance company, basically organising insurance policies for people, and I had absolutely no interest in insurance. I mean, who does have interest in insurance? Who as a kid goes, oh, I want to be a policeman, I want to be a fireman, or I want to be a fire lady, whatever, in this day and age. I want to work in insurance. Like, what kid says that? No bloody kid. That's who. Yeah, I would. And look, if anyone works in insurance, I don't mean to bag it out. You know, some people might love it. You might love insurance. You might have a T-shirt that says, "I love flipping insurance." But for me, it wasn't my game because I had no passion for it and I had no, desire for it. So I literally was just doing that. What did you want to become when you were a child? So I wanted to be a sports person. So I grew up in Melbourne, Australia, and a very big cricket loving state, very big Aussie rules football loving state. I was really into basketball, I was into football, I was into cricket. So as a kid and through my teenage years, I played a lot of those sports, and in all of them, I sort of got to relatively good levels, but never. I was probably maybe 1 or 2 divisions down from a level of note, and that was probably due to the fact that I was okay at all of them, but I was never amazing at something, if that makes sense. And so that was probably down to my own issue of liking too many things and being okay at a few different things, as opposed to just being brilliant at one thing. So yeah, look, if I could have chosen anything as a kid of what to do, I would have loved to have played in a sport, and most likely a team sport like cricket, Australian rules football, or basketball. Basketball, of those 3 sports, basketball is obviously the hardest one to do, because even though you might bloody be the best basketball player or the best shooter or something like that, once you don't hit a certain height, it then makes it extremely hard for you to progress. You can't park there, mate. No, I know you can't park there. I haven't tried to park. It's the bloody traffic. Jiminy crickets. Thanks, James, though. I appreciate it, mate. I love to often say that anywhere and anywhere I can. You can't bloody park there, mate. But yeah, I would have liked to have been in sports. Failing that, I don't know. I've always just wanted to be. I've never had a clear burning passion for one certain thing. I like things as a whole. I like creative, being able to be creative, and that I think that applies to a multitude of different sort of roles or jobs that you could do. But there's also a load of jobs that you could do that don't give you the ability to be creative. Like, say, for instance, when I was working at the insurance place, there was relatively a strict script, and there was only so much things you could do. It was basically just asking questionnaire after questionnaire, ticking boxes, filling in forms to see what policy was available and presenting that. And that was all you were doing day in, day out. Whereas, this role that I'm doing at the moment, you might not necessarily think it's a creative role, but there are ways in which I do have to be quite creative, because there's different. I speak to customers that It could be a petting zoo one minute, it could be a sports club the next minute, it could be a restaurant, it could be a theme park, it could be, it could be a swimming pool, it could be anything. And the company that I work for, we have thousands and hundreds of different products and stuff like that we can sort of get out to the people. So there's a number of different ways that I need to be creative in regards to the way that I position things, present things, and then also putting together things like brochures and catalogs and events, and trying to connect people and make relationships between one supplier and one buyer, and you have to think outside the box a fair bit of the time. So I guess that's that is an element that I enjoy. So I hope that answers the question. I guess sports would have been my preferred. So cricket, where did I get up to in cricket? I got up to, so in Australia, you've got suburban, regional divisions, and then you've got state cricket, and then you've got national cricket. So in Australia, there's 5 states: Victoria, Queensland, Tasmania, South Australia, Perth, and they've each got a state squad. So if you get selected for the state squad, you're basically just underneath the national squad. So those who play in state cricket are in the eyes of the selectors, and they're sort of there or thereabouts. Obviously below that, you've then got regional cricket and suburban cricket, and within those divisions, you've got, clubs might have the first team, the second team, the third team, the fourth team, so on and so forth. So in cricket, I played first regional, so I was probably just a step under state cricket. And then in football, I was probably a very similar sort of divisions, and I played, but I was a few rungs down. I was probably in regional football, but probably Division 3, third team stuff. I really liked it, but football is a really difficult one because you do have to, cricket, you can sort of get away with fitness a little bit. Aussie rules football, there's a lot of bloody running and a lot of physicality with it, so you can't afford to go out the night before and expect to be able to run around without puking your guts out. And then basketball, basketball's probably a combination of both in regards to the physicality of it. Yes, there's a lot of running, but it's short sprinting stuff, and there are times where you can sort of catch your breath, and with basketball, you can be, come on for 5-6 minutes and then be subbed off for 5-6 minutes, and you can come back on for 5-6 minutes, and so on and so forth. So, there's a lot of variations, but those were the 3 sports that I loved. I don't follow Aussie rules football anymore. It's just too hard to follow it being over here in the UK. There's no coverage here. Any sort of information has to be gotten online, or if you have to watch it, you have to sort of stay up and watch it at ungodly hours. So Aussie rules football, I've lost touch with. Cricket, I'd probably be honest and say that I probably know more about the English national side than the Aussie side these days. When I was at the height of my cricket fandomness, it was the time where Shane Warne and Glenn McGrath and all those sort of players were playing. But I couldn't tell you. Sometimes I look at the bloody Aussie side now, and all I see is a bunch of mullets and mustaches, and I couldn't tell you who the bloody hell anyone is. They all look like a bunch of pansies, if I'm honest with you. So I probably know more about the English cricket squad. And then basketball, I love basketball, and I still keep a track of basketball, and every day I log in to see the results for the night before. I try to watch a little bit of highlights in the morning when I'm having my morning think. And also of an evening, there is a way to listen and watch some of the games as well. So, you know, sometimes I like to tune in live to the old basketball. So yeah, if there's any basketball fans out there, feel free to make yourself known, because I could probably chat for a while about basketball. But yeah, where are we now? We're coming through to, this is starting to get into North London now. I think we've sort of passed the Camden sort of area, but we're not too far above it. It's one of those things that, you know, if it wasn't 20 miles an hour, we probably would have been here about 10 bloody minutes ago. But it is getting nice and dark now. It's time is it? It's only 4:15. Jiminy crickets. It gets to times like this, and I start getting a bit tired. And you know, the reality of the fact is that essentially I'm supposed to still be working for another hour and 15 minutes, and it's like, oh, with the darkness creeping in so swiftly these days, you know, I just want to curl up in bed really at this stage of the day. But nevertheless, we soldier on. Oh, look, there's some really nice buildings around here. It'd be lovely if you could see them, but I just obviously can't handle the phone whilst driving. But there are some lovely buildings here. It's quite industrial, bougie, urban sort of vibe here, but I don't know, it's really hard with London. I think, oh no, we're near Arsenal, I think we are. So I think we're near, what is it, Finsbury Park? Yeah, I think this is the, yeah, this is it. There we go, Finsbury Park. Everyone that's watching is going, well, of course it's bloody Finsbury Park. It says so on the bloody bridge. Well, I didn't see it when I was on the bridge. I didn't see it. But yeah, I don't know. A lot of the retail just... Listen, I came over to London back in 2012, I think it was. I came to London, and I don't know if it was, well, to me, it feels like it was drastically different to what it is these days. And it's not to say necessarily that it's a bad thing the way that it is now, but you know, because obviously, you know, who's to say what's bad and what's good? It's not, you know, it's not for me or anyone to say. But is it? There definitely seems to be moments where you're traveling through London where it is a different place, and there's such a different vibe going on that, you know, maybe it's just a part of getting old. Maybe it is just that. Maybe it's, you know, you get old and you go, in my day we used to have X, Y, Z, or there used to be a fish and chip shop on every bloody corner, or something like that, or a pub, or this, that and the other. And these days it just seems to be, you know, Turkish barbers and you know, coffee houses and stuff like that. I don't know. Maybe it's just a part of getting old. Maybe you remember things the way that you remember it, and you get used to that, and then suddenly it changes, and then you start whinging about the fact that it's not that anymore. But who's to say it's right or wrong that it isn't that anymore? Who knows? But yeah, it's starting to get a bit of rain in now. Well, that's a really exciting update. All right. So I'm gonna love you all and leave you, because there's a little bit of work I need to do on the way home now. There's a couple of calls I need to make. But listen, thank you for those people. I know it's only been a couple of people, but you know, your Jameses, your Plasmas, your Jesses, you know, thank you. If I haven't mentioned your name, I apologise. But thank you for stopping past. If you're new to the channel, you know, whack a subscribe on. I'll pay half of the subscription to the channel. But yeah, I'd appreciate that. And yeah, I appreciate the little chat that we had. Thanks for those that got involved. It was nice to have a couple of questions. Hope you learnt a little bit about Roger. Roger's learnt a little bit about you. I'm definitely going to add a bit more hollandaise sauce to my daily routine. But yeah, hope you as well, and I'll speak to you later. Bye.